I love grilling. It's relaxing, it's fun, and it's one of my favorite ways to cook. But one of my first times grilling, I went completely blind. Throughout all my years growing up as a young lad, I noticed one thing in common amongst all the men in my life. They all grilled. Every single one of them. My dad grilled, my grandpa grilled, my friend's dad grilled, and even that guy across the street and down the road grilled. Every man was outside grilling delicious meats on a fairly regular basis. My observations led me to the obvious conclusion that if I'm gonna be a real man, I need to learn how to grill. So I got everything I needed: matches, lighter fluid, hamburger meat, buns, and charcoal. After I got all that supplies, I approached the grill. At this moment, I had arrived to my destiny, the culmination of all the grilling supplies, the sacred ritual of barbecue. It was time to commence the consummation of my manhood. I had seen my dad do this countless times, putting the charcoal in the grill, dousing it with lighter fluid, lighting it. So I did all those things. I put the charcoal in the grill, poured the lighter fluid on the coals, struck my match, went to light the charcoal, and flames. First try, I did it. At that moment, I knew grilling was in my blood. Now I just had to wait for the coals to heat up. So I sat down and then came back a few minutes later to check on my coals, but when I did, something was not right. The coals, they were only partially hot. That won't cook burgers. I didn't get it. I'd done everything right. I watched this process countless times, studied it, memorized it, but what did I do wrong? Of course, I denied it. It wasn't me. I was not the problem. It was the charcoal. But I thought to myself, I have to fix this problem now. I'm hungry and my manhood is on the line. But what do? Do I restart this entire process, or do I just add a little extra lighter fluid to these partially lit coals? The obvious answer is to add more lighter fluid. More lighter fluid will give me instant flames. More lighter fluid will help me prove that I'm inherently good at grilling. It'll help me prove that I'm inherently good at being a man. Using that lighter fluid proved I was a man, alright. It proved it because I didn't read the warning label on the back of the bottle. Do not use near heat or open flames. What happened next was a disaster. Confidently, I grabbed my trustable combustible and started pouring. I didn't know that at this point I would be playing mad scientist. That lighter fluid in combination with the hot charcoals had the most violent reaction I had ever seen. It turned into a flammable, toxic steam that made a full charge directly into both retinas and the back of my throat. That steam burned my eyeballs and esophagus so bad, I ran away trying to yell help, but I also couldn't see where I was going. My blind running caused me to trip and fall onto the ground, completely helpless. This was one of the worst feelings I had ever had, but that pain wasn't nearly as unbearable as the realization of never becoming a man. At this point, I accepted my fate. This was my time to die. There was no way I could recover from this agony. Half blind, I began to fade away with only the grill in sight. Just as I had given up, here came my savior. My dad. My dear father. He said, Daniel, my boy, turn this way. As I turned my blurry gaze towards his voice, I was met with the water hose of salvation. He pulled the trigger and flushed out every last bit of that toxic chemical, saving my life. But my life wasn't the only thing he saved that day. After picking me up and staring directly into my eyes, he said, Son, let me teach you how to grill. And in that moment, my dad walked me through the entire process of how to properly grill, thus helping me pass over into manhood. I learned a lesson that day, and that lesson was that becoming a man is not something you just do. It's something you have to be taught. My dad taught me how to become a man, and I will forever cherish that for the rest of my life.